let's say, hypothetically, that somebody volunteered you to come up with leather shapes for a summer camp program. And in this hypothetical situation that your sister volunteered you for, the theme matches with the United States 250th anniversary. So you decide that a great shape would be something that allowed the kids to have some creativity in the colors that they choose, so that throws out eagles and flags and so on like that, and the stamping that they put on it. So you come up with fireworks shape. Now, this complicated little shape is not something you want to cut out by hand, especially to cut out 100 of them. So now we're in a quandary. We've got a decision to make. I'm only cutting out 100, so getting a clicker die made is probably not going to give me any sort of return on investment. So I could throw money at the problem, make it easy on myself, or I could throw a lot of time at the problem and cut them all out by hand. That again is not going to be worthwhile. And then there's a third option, which is only in the last 10 years or so, laser cutters have come out. So I have a laser cutter because it costs about the same as 1 or 2 clicker dies to get a laser cutter. And then I can use it for projects like this, where I've got something I need repeated, but I don't need a ton of them. And they're an unusual shape that's hard to cut out. So I use them mostly for my roses that I make, because I don't want to spend the money to get 5 separate clicker dies made for the rose pieces, or one big one that's very complicated, to cut them out fast, because I just don't make that many of them. But it's perfect for stuff like this. So I basically took and just drew up a pattern. I kind of drew it by hand, took some stars that were printed out, stuck them on there, and some round spots for the holes. Each one of these holes on a clicker die is another $25 usually. So being able to just drop those into the pattern real quick with a laser cutter, that's a great advantage because it doesn't cost you anything more. So anyway, I took all this, drew it out, traced it. So I just had the outside line of it, and I dropped the picture that I scanned into the computer, and then I took a program that's free. It's Laser Gerbil. It's Laser GRBL, but if that's not pronounced Laser Gerbil, it should be. So yeah, I drop it into that program, and then I just use Centerline, and it just follows in the center of whatever lines that I have for my outline. Pretty simple. Your settings to vary depending on the laser that you've got, the thickness of leather you've got, that particular leather's, how well it burns sometimes. Anyway, downstairs I've got a laser cutter all set up. I'll talk a little bit about that. Alright, so this is the laser engraver that I'm using. There's a bunch of them out there. You can find tons of them. This one had a nice large area that it would work with. I liked some of the features of it, and it's the one I decided on. Now, I got this enclosure that's made by a different company. The engraver is, I don't know how that's pronounced, Elegoo? Something like that. But the enclosure is from a different company, but doesn't matter. It has venting on it. So, very important if you're cutting leather with the laser cutter, is you want to vent that stuff outside because cutting leather smells bad. So I have this standard sort of aluminum honeycomb screen that you can use for your cutting surface. I've got stainless steel underneath of that, so I don't mess my table up underneath. And I'm using these little connectors. Anybody who does automotive work could probably find these very familiar. They're used to hold body panels and all sorts of pieces onto cars now. I refer to them as the Lego pieces. But yeah, these are the same size as the holes in the grid, and I can pop them in there. And then I have some of those set in place. So each time I put a piece of leather in, I can slide it right over into place, and I have it in the same place every time. So I can just home the laser right to where it needs to be and start it cutting, and I don't have to worry about everything laying out right because I just cut the pieces of leather to the right size, slide them in there, start some cutting. I have above it here This is an exhaust fan. It's for ductwork. These ducting, one of them is, this one goes to the laser cutter, and I've got the damper open on it right now. This one that I've got the damper closed on goes to my spray booth for my airbrush, so I can use that to suck paint out of the room and not have to breathe that in. And all of it goes up, and this is in the basement, so it goes out the side wall and vents outside, so I get most of the fumes of everything outside. It still smells somewhat like burnt leather in here, but not as bad as it could. So we're going to turn that on. It's fairly quiet. This is the air assist on the laser. An air assist on your laser cutter is great so that you don't leave a bunch of scorch marks around on the leather. So anybody cutting leather, I would suggest getting a laser cutter that has an air assist on it. And then we just kick it off and let it go. And it'll cut 4 of these out in about 8 or 9 minutes. Close up the enclosure so that the fumes get sucked outside, not in here. Now, what the laser cutter puts out, I've got it set up to cut 4 of them at a time. All on a big piece like this. I just cut out a rectangular piece of leather. This one I think is like 7 by 9.5 inches. Basically enough to get all 4 of those on there and a little bit of extra space around. There is going to be some more scrap with this than there would be probably with a clicker. But there's always 1 or 2 spots that want to stick a little bit that you might have to trim up. Some people will put places like that in there on purpose. But for the most part, they just kind of pop right out. The little spots for the holes fall right out of it, sometimes in the laser cutter. And if you got all your settings right, it comes out pretty nice. So that is how I wind up with being able to cut 100 some odd leather shapes in just a few days without spending all the money and usually several weeks of lead time to get a clicker die made, or to try and make one myself, which for this shape, I'm not that good. So, hope that helps somebody else out too.